Hello, everybody. Todd Crandall, founder of Racing for Recovery, on another podcast, and I'm here with one Mr. Chris Eldredge. How you doing, brother?
I am doing great.
Are you nervous?
A little bit.
You said earlier before we started rolling, you feel like this is like a courtroom.
Yeah. Just past trauma that I've dealt with. Not something I'm proud of, but it was a pivotal moment of realizing I was heading down the wrong road.
Well, let's do this then, buddy. I'm not wearing a robe and there's no gavel in front of me, right? So let's talk about how you feel right now that this actually isn't a courtroom and you're in a different place than you were. What's that like?
It was just being a part of where I'm at now, racing for recovery. It's just, I didn't know how to live. It's helped me realize that there's more important things in life than just trying to get something out of somebody or work for things that are going to benefit me in the wrong way. I just been unhealthy to myself for too long.
So what did we show you that has helped you speak the way you're speaking right now?
Well, the first thing I had to do was I had to slow down a little bit. I've always past experiences of me trying to become sober, I always felt like I would get that first couple weeks back and then I would have to jump right back into getting my life together, and which would involve like the job and, you know, car and making things that I thought were important, getting them back in my life. And when I first came in, it was a conversation that me, you, Todd Bieber, and Dan Williams had of going back to work. And it was, you guys just asked me to slow down. Really, you just asked me questions on how you made me answer my own questions, which in the long run benefited because I had time to focus on myself.
This is awesome we're talking about this, because I feel that is the most important thing you did early on that has put you in the awesome place you're at right now. So I want to talk further about this. How was it? Was it something that any of us said, or was it our demeanor? How was our approach different than anything you've had before that allowed you to actually not only listen to what we were saying, but apply it?
The difference from some of the different facilities that I was in was the fact that you guys gave me time to figure out who I was or what I wanted to do, and I'm still working on that. I've had coming up on 10 months, and
That's awesome.
that's like really big to me, and it's just, I wouldn't have been able to do that if I was focusing on everything that I was before. And it was like trying to get the okay from my parents, or, you know, like, hey, look at me. I didn't have to do that this time. I actually got to sit down and you know, realize what my traumas were in a sense. The biggest thing was you guys helped me like get back into the physical fitness aspect, being part of outside activities like volleyball, softball, things. I played hockey growing up, and I kind of fell out of that for a long time, and that helped me realize, you know, some of my potentials that I still could have. And it's just, you know, it's hard to explain without getting emotional. Don't want to be the first person to cry. So.
Oh, you're gonna get there.
Yeah, I'm sure I will. So it was, I'm just grateful for the opportunity to be myself.
I'm looking at you, and sometimes I have to look away because I'm trying to keep my composure, I guess, in this too. But you said something to me a couple weeks ago when the first podcast aired. It was very nice. I mean, you've been sending me a lot of text messages over the past couple of months, and I'll talk about those periodically. But you said I was getting better at my role in whatever I'm doing here, and I appreciated hearing that because I do want to get better at that. So, getting better at that, what I want to ask you is this: as another man talking to you, the way I know you and what you've been through, and you don't have to talk about that stuff, or you can as much or as little as you want. I would gather, and correct me if I'm wrong, building trust with you had to be paramount in this whole thing.
Yeah.
So can you talk about how I was able to build that trust with you?
I remember like the first time that we kind of communicated was at, we had talked prior to that, but the morning that we went swimming, and you knew I was nervous, and I haven't swam like that, I don't think ever, as a physical activity. And you asked me about my tattoos, which took me off the mindset of how nervous I was, just like I am now, and I get myself way more worked up than I need to be, like just even in meetings or even sitting up front. That what I see, you've never led me in the wrong direction. And it's worked out in my benefit as long as people that are in my life, they notice. And one of the biggest things for me was honesty. Coming in, I've been lying about way too many things, just stuff I didn't even need to lie about. Yeah. And I don't have to do that anymore.
The reason I'm bringing this up is, and I want to say this to you, Chris, what you're talking about right now is going to make a difference to somebody. Think of people who have been where you have been, who have felt the way you did, thought the way you did. Having them watch this, you have an opportunity to get them to go, wow, there's something different out there. Look what that dude's overcome. You know what I'm saying? The one thing that I take a lot of pride in with you and anybody that comes in here, if I say we're going to do something, either me personally or this program, by God, I'm going to do it, because I don't ever want somebody who hasn't had trust and has been, for lack of a better term, screwed over repeatedly, to have them see, I knew you were full of crap. I'm never going to give that to somebody. And right. I remember that day you standing at the pool, and I could see it in you, and that's how I wanted to just start to connect with you, is just to acknowledge you as a person and be like, I feel you, dude, right. And I think over the course of the months that I've had the pleasure of knowing you, we just keep doing that. And I love watching you evolve, you know?
Yeah, it's definitely been, it's had its ups and downs, just dealing with some of the stuff that I've done in my past, and some of the people I let down. But I got too many people in my life now that look up to me, and I want to show them that by doing the self-destruction thing, it's not worth it.
Tell people that are watching this what your healing process has been like. How have you forgiven yourself for what you've done, and how are you overcoming the adversities that are in sobriety now?
Well, like I said earlier, the main thing I had to do was be honest, to even start repairing some of them relationships, or to be able to talk to people and actually mean what I'm saying, because if I wasn't going to be honest with myself, I would never recover. You know, and it's been hard. Yeah.
What's so hard about that honesty part? I mean, I'm just speaking on my side. I'm like, that should be cool or good. So what's hard about it?
Just the hurt that I put on like my family, and it's hard. It's hard to deal with.
Have you forgiven yourself for that?
I have. I had to become okay with what I'm doing now. You know, it's helping me heal. But it's just like my parents, they've always taught me to do right, and you know, good things will happen if you do good, and you know, if you're producing negativity, it's, you know, that's what you're going to receive. So it's, now that I'm doing that, I can see it.
Yeah.
And it's not negative.
No, it's great. Even with respect to you coming to me and talking to me, you know, a few times, but more recently about, hey man, you think I can actually do something, you know, at Racing for Recovery? Can I work here someday? I love what your mom said. And right. I talked to, I think it was Todd I was talking to about it yesterday, about your mom basically said, you know, do something that they need that they can't do. And I'm like, that's it.
Right.
You know, and I hear you saying that in there. When you're just doing the right thing, the good things are going to come.
Right.
Does that motivate you from what you've seen so far?
Yeah. That's just, you know, I've had to slow down, obviously, but like I've continuously proven to myself that by making the right choices, good things will happen. And you know, I've gone through a lot of obstacles of, you know, having to get my license back, still dealing with court on probation, but like everything that I've been working for the last 10 months is starting to work out.
Yeah.
And it wouldn't be that way if I was still in my negative behaviors.
You mentioned watching Eric's podcasts, which it's funny. I don't go back and watch these because I do them.
That was really good.
You know, so why, and you said earlier, I shouldn't have watched that last night. What happened there? Why were you in that mindset?
I've had the pleasure of being at the condo with him, and got to know him the last 10 months I've been around, roughly, and I love hearing him speak. It flows. He knows what he's doing. He can almost talk professionally. That's what had me nervous, because I know that I don't have that experience. I know I can. It's just hard for me to believe in myself sometimes to do that. But I know that I'm doing the right thing.
You're speaking that way right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that, you know what? Hearing you say that, it's another reminder of what we talk about. Our self-esteem is so shot coming in here, because I'm listening to you and you're not doing a lot of ums and
right.
You're just speaking openly and honestly, you know.
Yeah.
You're doing great.
And that's what, going back to the honesty thing, I wouldn't be able to move forward in my life if I wouldn't have corrected that flaw.
Think of everything that you're doing now, Chris. What if I, you know, whatever role I have in helping you, what if I wasn't honest with what I was doing? I mean, A, you would see right through that because you come from that, you know, I mean, I get that. B, it would just be a joke.
Right.
You know, and I get emotional with stuff. I mean, it's hard talking to you right now like that, but people want to see that. I mean, that's honesty. There's integrity behind that. There's class behind that. That's the stuff I hope someday you're like comfortable with just being you, because you is okay.
Right.
But I see it in a different way than you see it. I get that.
Right. And it took me a while to figure out that who I was, just because I haven't been myself for 15 plus years. Even when I was younger, I still had dishonesty traits, and it was I'm not perfect now, but I can be honest about that aspect of if something's wrong. You've always been there for me. Since I've been here, I've not seen any dishonesty from anybody that is here, that's helped me through what I've gone through. I have trauma that I didn't even know that I had, and because I would cover it. And one of the biggest things that I still deal with is the prison aspect. We've talked about that briefly here and there, but it's something that, I did that was hard to get over. I felt like it was a wasted time.
You mentioned where you were, and it's interesting. I wasn't gonna say that. I would not do that to you.
I know.
But since you said that, do you want to elaborate on any of that you think is relative to somebody watching?
Just that, you can try. It wasn't the time, because even when I was in there, I thought that I was going to get better just by coasting through it. And I put a little bit of work in, but honesty wasn't there. I still was manipulating people, and then it was, even when I got out in 2015, and it still was a struggle. I got back on medication that I shouldn't have, Suboxone, and it took me 3.5 years to get off of it. But along with that, it was still keeping my addictive mentality of, lying and conniving and getting what I wanted. And it took going back to jail for 60 days to remind me that is not what I wanted. And that's how I got introduced here, because the day that I got out, I came and talked to Dan, and I was just ready for something different.
I'm going to ask you a question about that in a second, but I just want to make a statement to you. Dude, you never have to go back there again. Never. I mean, it's over.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, what's that Poison song? The wound heals, but the scar still remains. Every rose has its thorn. That's what it was, right? I had to think of that.
Close.
Right. So,
right.
That's over.
It's over, and I see it that way now.
Yeah.
That was coming up on over almost a year ago that I did that, and it's just, that will never happen again.
It's over.
Yeah.
When you were coming in here, like, what did you want from us? And I mean, I asked this to everybody, right? But I want you to tell people that are watching, like, what did you want from Racing for Recovery when you called Dan?
Guidance. It was just, I was a mess trying to figure out what I wanted. And that's where, like, I got out, I was clean, but I had no purpose. I didn't know what I was going to do. So, and that's where you guys helped me realize that I still had purpose.
Do you think that that's why so many people go back, is they go to the can for a while, or even with respect to sobriety, they stop using for a while, but nothing changes. Do you think that's a big reason why people go back to using?
Yeah. For me, I had support. going through that, but I wasn't appreciative towards that, and it's now, I realize what my family did for me when I was in there. But anybody that, when they get out and it feels like there's no one there to help, that's what places like this are for.
So, dude, I'm proud of you. So you mentioned guidance. I don't think I've heard somebody say it that way before. So how have we guided you? What's that like? What has that been like?
The main thing was that I don't have to use.
Ever.
And it was never put to me that simple. It was always, you have to do this, and this, and you might make it. And it's not that way.
No. I cannot imagine. I heard that. I got to watch how I say this, but I heard that garbage earlier when I was trying to get some help of, look to your left and look to your right, and they're not going to be here, and 9 out of 10 aren't you going to make it? And I'm thinking, people are paying for that? Like, I'm paying you to come into your facility, and that's the best you can give me is, hey, most people aren't going to make it? I can't imagine telling somebody that. Those words have never come out of my mouth. That's not what we do at Racing for Recovery. It's the complete antithesis of that. It's like we said, you never have to use again. And it never ceases to amaze me, the astonishment on people's faces when you say something like that, because they've never heard that before.
It's like, all right, I'm going to fail already, and I haven't even started.
Why would anybody even want to start?
Right.
No.
God, you're validating a lot of stuff that I have believed in myself personally for a long time and what this program has been doing for a long time.
Yeah. And I've only known it for a short period of time, and I've seen the growth in the people that have been here, and peers that I look up to are like the number one support.
So okay, you said, telling you never have to use again, that's a way of guiding you. What else has this program done that's helped?
The one-on-ones were really big with me in the beginning. I don't feel I need them all the time like I did in the beginning, but it's still nice to be able to talk and figure out things that I might be going through and getting someone's perspective, aka yourself, on just a different outlook. Then that's where the trust comes in. You haven't shown me that you're going to lead me in the wrong direction.
Do you know the only time I've told you no is? It's one time. You know when it was?
Yesterday?
Yeah. Yeah.
It was yesterday.
All right. Good on you. You got it right.
Yeah.
I had to tell you no yesterday. First, you caught me at a weird time, and I want to talk about accessibility to me or us in a second too. You kind of caught me off guard because I wasn't in group, but we had the state here, so I was kind of busy at the time. But I remember I'm telling you, no, I can't do that for you, and I thought, that's weird that I said no.
That's okay, though.
You're right, but that's what I felt too. I'm like, I can't do it.
Right.
And I think you knew that I can't, and I think if I would have done that, and I can say what it was, you wanted to use one of our cars, and I'm like, I can't do that.
Right.
We could get in trouble for that.
Right.
And I think just me saying no, how do I want to say this? I think that carried more weight on the honesty and the integrity that we have. I just couldn't do it, you know? And I assume you respected that, right?
I sent you a message on it.
Right. You got that right. That's good. Yeah. Let's talk about going to Virginia. What was that? We went down to Ironman Virginia earlier this year. What was that like when I said, hey, do you want to come with us? Give me this how you
It
felt
was,
about that.
I've never really known about Ironman or anything that it details. I knew it was a lot of running and swimming and biking, but I never got to experience anything like that. And I was just grateful for the opportunity just to be a part of it with a group of people that some I did know. Eric was there, but some of the other people that went with us, I didn't really get a chance to get to know, which I did at that point.
Yep.
And it was just good getting to know different people and their stories and kind of just what I've based my recovery on. It's just honestly getting to know people for, not looking judgmental any type of way, just hanging out, having fun. Spent a lot of time working on that Apple HomePod thing, whatever.
Never got
is.
it.
Never got it.
Had to change that moving forward. I take the speaker now. I gave up on taking the HomePod.
Yeah.
That was brutal.
It was.
Right?
Couple
We learned.
hours.
You learn lessons in recovery, right?
It was knowledge I learned.
Right.
Yeah.
Tell, what else on that trip? How did the whole thing with Ironman? How did it, or did it? I guess did it help you in any other capacity in your own recovery? Not saying you got to go out and do one of those, but did it motivate you for other areas?
It did. One of the main things, and Eric pointed it out, it was we were on the sidelines supporting you, ready for the swim. And I remember seeing a lady that was having her arms strapped in. And that was I don't know exactly her story, but I knew that she couldn't use her arm.
Right.
And she was about ready to do the swim. And then it was a moment where I realized, regardless of what you're going through, it still can be accomplished.
Absolutely.
And she finished. I'm not sure what time or when.
She probably beat me.
Possibly. Possibly. And it was, there was some other people that had disabilities that were getting it.
Yeah.
And it was motivational in its own way.
I've never asked somebody this. I'm curious as to see, a lot of times, you hear the word peer support around here.
Mm-hmm.
So I'd like to know your perspective on how you think you guys were supporting me that day, how it was reversed.
The hardest part about it was you were doing the race, but every time we seen you, you would always ask if we were okay. And it was, it was hard for me I don't know how to support. That was something that, I do, but God, you're probably going to be mad at me, but the Running with Demons that I had watched for the 8th time the other
Right.
day, it was seeing how hard you worked, not to just accomplish that for yourself, but what the reasoning of why you're doing it.
Yeah.
And it's I'm just grateful to be a part of that.
Dude, I appreciate hearing that. It's the peer support. I know how people, God, I really don't like talking about this. I know how people look at me, and that's okay in some facets, but I wish they would look further sometimes, because I'm only doing those things now because I get to have people like you around there with me.
Right.
It's a team effort, and that's part of what I want you guys to get out of that. We go on there is look at your role that's helping me do what I do, that promotes our program to help somebody else. It's a group effort. That's the message I want all you guys to get out. It's I played a role in helping that dude do that stuff, and it's true, but I'm more concerned about you guys and how long it takes for you guys to be out there than it is for me to do it. That day it rained, and my whole time I'm Are they sitting in the van? Did they go get umbrellas? What's going on? And it makes me like hurry up to get in there.
Right, just to see. And and it also helps people understand how to be a peer.
Yes.
You know, and see how to help support people that are going through something that might seem impossible at the time.
Absolutely. So let's talk about some cool stuff. What does your future look like?
Phew. I mean, right now I'm just being present. I'm hoping that there's something that is beneficial. I want to stay where I want to stay grounded here, just because of the fact of this has helped me change a lot of aspects of my life. You know, and I feel comfortable here. You know, anywhere. And it's like leading back to the job thing. Like, I don't know what I'm going to get myself into, but I know that if I'm around here and around people that are doing the right thing, I have no room for failure.
So then an obvious question is, have you fully accepted that it's not about the job per se, it's about the environment that the job is in, right?
Right. And that's something that's always, it hasn't in the past, but now it does, because I don't know what situations I'm going to get or people I'm going to be around when I do start working. Yep. And that has helped me learn to just slow down and figure out what I want to do. And I don't have to just accept anything because you guys have given me the chance to figure that out. I don't have to feel rushed to jump into a situation that's going to hurt me.
You don't have to accept or tolerate anything anymore. No. You can create it. And right. I go, when your mom made that statement to you, how did that resonate with you?
It made me think. I've always had great ideas. It was just for the wrong reasons.
So are you thinking like how you can create something for yourself with us here?
I am. I gotta, you know, I just gotta figure my niche out. I don't know what it is yet, but it will come. I know, as long as I continue doing what I'm doing and being there for myself and other people, it'll work out, you know.
So last question I have for you, or maybe last question. What do those sunglasses on your head mean to you?
Man. Well, you know, it's man, they mean a lot, but it's more of the, you know, one of the first things I asked you was the story behind them.
Yeah.
When I did, you know, because I know they had been with you somewhere at some point doing something, and I can't quote where it was at, but I knew it wasn't in the United States.
In Korea,
yeah. And it was, it just meant a lot that how it started was we were in Virginia, and you had a whole bookcase full of sunglasses, and you had told me you would give me a pair, and I did. You know, you held true to your word.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that's another reason or another moment in my sobriety that you haven't let me down.
You know, and I love it. You think of just a pair of sunglasses with the meaning behind those, right? And I remember us talking about that in Virginia, and I know I told you I'll give you a pair, but honestly, I forgot. Mm-hmm. And looking back on it, I'm glad I forgot, because it forced you to ask, which took a lot of courage on you.
Yes,
and when you asked me about them again, I was like, oh, man, damn, I forgot to do that. But I was like, I'm glad I forgot.
Right.
Because I know how hard that was for you.
Very uncomfortable.
Yeah. But that's the stuff, you go through hardships like that, and it makes the reward that much better, you know? I asked this, I interviewed Steven on our last episode, and I asked him if he had any questions for me, and maybe I start doing this as a trend, but do you have any questions for me that you'd want somebody to know or learn or whatever?
That would, I could ask you numerous questions, but then it would be me running the podcast.
It's all right.
And I don't want to do that.
Someday you might.
Maybe I think I would just want to say that if you are feeling like you need a place that, not even just through addiction, just someone to help you balance out your life, and just it doesn't even have to be addiction, just some place that'll help you figure out what your potential is. I think this would be a great place to start.
Why do you think I had you on this today?
Because I'm changing who I am.
You have changed.
Yeah.
It's an ED, and you're changing.
Yeah.
That's why I had you on here. You are awesome. Thanks for coming on it, buddy.
Thank you.
We're out. See you next time.